It is 1 minute before class time, so I thought I would start things up and see who's ready to join us. Hey there.
Hi. Am I the only one on?
At the moment, you're like the early bird.
I am always the early bird.
Well, that's a good habit. That's a good habit to have.
I have a couple questions.
Okay, well, just wait until a few people come, and then I want to say a little bit of introductory stuff, and then we can jump into your questions.
Okay.
That way
good.
That way I only have to say things once.
Oh. Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I didn't realize when I started this course that I knew at least some of the basic, because I took, was it micro or like the first?
Micro, yeah.
I took microeconomics at Germanus, so I had a good, some of this made sense, some of it.
Okay. Well, that's good. That's a start.
Yeah, I was pretty excited. I was like, I know that. But anyway.
It'll be a couple weeks before we get to any of the really new stuff. So that's good. That'll get you a good start.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, it looks like you've got a good room to work in. It's really quiet.
Well, yeah, I'm still at UMW, so.
Okay.
I stole one of their conference rooms.
Oh, is that in the Convergence Center?
Yeah.
Okay. I like that place. I spend a lot of time there.
Yeah, me too, obviously, this semester. But anyway. They said they have like all these you can rent, like even like Xboxes and stuff. I was like, really? It's just like, yeah, you can rent it if you want. I was like, that's too tempting. Take away from my studies and stuff.
Sure. Yeah, I have intentionally not tried to get into that stuff because I thought it would be a huge time sink for me.
It's good to like de-stress out on, but I don't own any PlayStations yet because I put all my money into school.
Well, that's a good thing for now.
Yes. Speaking of good economic decisions, and you know, I some of the stuff like in the beginning that I read about is like, this makes sense because I stand here and do all this stuff, but I put my money, like if you think about putting your money into and a little time into school, in the end it'll come out. In the long run, it'll come out and be good.
You're already thinking like an economist would.
Decision. I try to.
So are you a business major?
Yeah, leadership and management.
Got it. So who's your faculty advisor over there?
Anna Chichester.
Oh, sure. I know Anna.
So, yeah, I'm thinking about going into human resources. Lately, my life situation.
You'll be the second person. Somebody put their course video up on the website already, and that's what they said too. Hey, Maggie.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Hey, where are you, Maggie?
I'm in my dorm room right now.
Okay, because the windows look the same as Addie's situation, but she's not in her dorm room.
Oh.
So we'll wait just a couple more minutes to see who else will join us. Have you guys used Google Hangouts before?
I have not.
No, but it seems sort of like the Skype situation, like very good at adding people and quick and stuff.
The difference is that with Skype, to have more than one person, you need to pay.
Oh.
And Google Hangouts is free up to 10. So if we get a bigger crowd than that, I might switch to some other software that I have access to that will take the whole class if they wanted to show up.
Okay.
Maggie, what
Yes.
year in school are you?
I'm a sophomore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and why are you taking this class?
I want to be a business major, so it goes along with that.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, it's 5 after 7, so we may as well get started. The first thing that I wanted to say is this week is difficult for students in this class because you have to do 2 separate things. First, acclimate yourself to the online environment of this course, and second, you need to start learning the content. You could put all of your efforts into each of those, and the fact that you kind of need to do them all in the same week just makes it tough. So the first thing I thought we would do is make sure you know where all the main features are of the course.
Okay.
So let me see if I can share screens. All right. Let's do this. Share. And then you should be looking at yourself at this point, Maggie.
Yep.
All right. Now, here we go. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Addie, you there?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So hopefully you've been to this website before. This is where most of the action takes place, at least most of the directions. Let's see. Whenever I send you guys emails, I always post them here too. So I guess the things that I want you to notice first is that point. Also, when I give you an assignment that's not one of the module quizzes, I'll post the assignments here under this assignment tab. So right now you have the personal video assignment and you have the scavenger hunt assignment. Hopefully you're aware of those things.
Yep.
Okay, and I was very pleased to see that that one of our students has already posted her video here, and it's Mickey Williams, and she also is a business major, and she is interested in going into human resources. Anyway, the idea here is that when you guys all get your videos posted, you can kind of meet the other students, because in about a week and a half we're going to start doing some group assignments. This way you can meet people before you have to work with them. At least that's the plan. Most people last semester when I was teaching micro online, they really liked the group assignments because they were able to kind of work together and teach each other stuff that they were having trouble with.
So we'll do that mostly like online and not in person?
You can do it however you want, okay? So like suppose there were 3 people and they all lived in the same dorm, then it might make sense for you guys to meet in person. So it's entirely up to you. The most important thing probably after we get the group set up is for you to exchange contact information so you can stay in touch with each other. All right. Okay, so the other thing that you need to know is where the Waymaker modules are. Waymaker is our main text, and if you go into Canvas and click on the modules tab over here, what you will see not is how to set up. You will not see the faculty resources. Let me scroll up here a little bit. I think yours starts here, Security Waymaker. Who have we got? We've got Kate here. You made it?
Yeah, it took me a while.
We can hear you. That's good. All right, and Abby. Hey, Abby. Abby doesn't have a camera on. All right, that's fine. It's kind of unfair, though. I mean, you're looking at me. I should at least be able to look at you, right? Okay, so back to what we were talking about before. Here's what the Waymaker stuff looks like. I don't know if you've had a chance to get into it. This first module here on succeeding with Waymaker is really important for you to read because it explains how to use this stuff. Okay, and so it's basically practice for how to work through the actual economics stuff. It doesn't take long to go through these modules. For this week, I recommend that you try to get the first 3 done through Choice in a World of Scarcity. I know I'm throwing a lot at you this week, and most weeks won't be like this, but you kind of need to get up to speed first. If you click on the module, you can see the study plan here, and the study plan is personal, so everybody has their own version of this, and everyone starts with a why it matters, which is kind of an overview. It's like a one-page overview of what this module is about. This show what you know is a pre-test. So you take that before you actually dig into the content, and it will tell you which of the following kind of sections you already know based on the pretest, so you know you won't have to spend a lot of time on those. And it'll also tell you where you crashed and burned. That's the technical term that we use in economics. That was a joke. Come on now, you can laugh a little bit, or at least laugh at me. You know, so basically the purpose of this module is not just to provide the content, but to help you learn it at a deeper level. And the way you do that is by thinking about what you're doing and thinking about what you're learning. Okay, so maybe you start here. What is economics? You dive in there, and these are all little sort of content elements. A reading. Over here are videos. Later in the semester, later in the modules, we'll get into some animations and simulations where instead of just looking at a graph or a picture, you actually get to play the game, so to speak. And what I found last year is that some students learned really much better by being able to play the game rather than just reading about it. Okay, especially if you're kind of a visual learner, that seems to work very well. Okay. So I get this information that you don't necessarily have about the average scores that people have done. Anyway, you work through, and then as you go along, at the end of these little sections, these little, like, what is economics, you do a self-check. A self-check is a 1 or 2 question quiz that's designed to help you figure out if you're really learning the stuff. Okay, so these are for you, not for me. I don't see the grades that you got. Basically, if you pass, that's a sign that you've learned the stuff and you can go on. And if you don't pass, then what you need to do is go back and redo the content. At the end of the whole module, which is all of these little squares, you take a quiz, a final quiz, which is kind of like a chapter test. Okay, these things are graded, and I do get the results, but while they count, they don't count very much. Basically, the idea is I want to give you an incentive to take them seriously, and so that you can get the information about how well you're learning the stuff or not. Okay, you get the self-checks you can take as many times as you want, but the end of module quizzes you can only take 2 times. So if you take it the first time and you don't pass, then you really want to go back and study again and maybe talk to me about things that you don't understand before you go and take the quiz a second time. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, the way this is set up, you can work through this stuff at your own pace. So if you have So I give you suggestions about how much I think you should be doing this week. So like when I said you need to do the first 3, next week we're going to do this one and possibly this one. I haven't decided yet. But suppose you have a really busy week in your other classes, then you can do less than I recommend and then catch up as soon as you can. Or if you have a really easy week, you can do more than I suggest, and that way you'll get a little bit ahead of the game. The only thing is you want to make sure you get all the modules done and all the quizzes taken before the first exam, or rather before the next exam. Okay? There's no point to there's not really a lot of point to taking a quiz after you've already taken the exam on the material. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. And obviously you have to finish everything by the time the semester's over. So, so that's the way it's going to work. What I'll do in these Google Hangouts is I'll talk a little bit about, I think that's all the screen sharing I need to do. Let's see. Stop. What I'll do in these Hangouts is first talk a little bit about what I think might have been difficult over the last week for you to do. I'll also spend some time answering any questions that you might have, and then I'll kind of look ahead to the next week and kind of preview what we're going to be doing, especially when we get into the group assignments. I want to give you plenty of time so that you can do these really well. All right, so what questions do you guys have?
So do we average like about 3 modules per week? Like, is that where you?
No, it all depends on how much content there is and how hard it is. So this one has 3 because the first one is all the how to use the software stuff. Okay, the second one, the second 2 actually last year were 1 module, and we decided it was just too long, and so we split it up. Okay. So the harder the material, the less modules that you'll do. Okay. I don't think you ever do less than 1 module in a week, or I should say, I don't assign less than 1 module in a week.
Okay.
Okay. And so the harder the material, the slower we'll go, basically.
So like, how do we know like where we should be each
Okay.
week?
Great question. Let me screen share again. Now that I know how to do this, share. All right. If you go back to the course website here, if you click on course outline, it's got the week-to-week schedule, week-by-week schedule. Okay. So, plus you can always throw a question on Twitter, and I'm happy to tell you where I think you are, or where I think you should be. Okay. So the good news is that there's no class on Monday. The bad news is we don't have classes anyway, so that's not much of an advantage for you guys. and wait until we get snow days, okay? When we get snow days, it's going to be, it's kind of like being self-employed. This is for you business majors. The good news when you're self-employed is you can take off anytime you want. The bad news is you don't get paid, and the work is still there when you come back.
So just making sure it's the first through the 4th module for the first exam, or is it going to be more than the first 4?
Okay, hold on. That sounds right, but let me just check again. I'm going to go to back to the course outline here. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5.5, I want to say, because you're only doing about half of this module here, and then we're going to come back to it. So I just contradicted myself. This is an example of where we do the first half of this module early in the course, and we do the second half later in the course. So it's going to be everything through this point. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, no problem. You know, I get paid by the question, so the more you ask, the more I get paid. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? The meaning of life, the nature of the universe. Come on, surely you have some questions.
Well, the nature of my question is more of the content of one of the modules, like so far.
So ask.
I'm still, since I haven't done this in a while, I haven't done graphs in a while, would you mind just going over, you know, basic rise, run, and then the slope, and then I wasn't getting the questions when it was talking about, you know, how the slope is like negative, is it like when it's a negative and when is it a positive? That one,
Right.
like I took stats, but I was struggling.
Okay. Let me see. Graphs and economics. Here we go.
Yeah.
Creating and interpreting graphs. Okay. A positive slope is this one. And what it means is that as the x variable gets bigger, the y variable gets bigger too. So they're both going in the same direction, either up together or down together. Okay, another way to think about that is to say that x and y are positively correlated or positively related. And what you can see from this graph here is the slope is going to be measured from one point here to another point here, and it's going to be this vertical rise divided by this horizontal run. Okay, now the same thing is true with this other line. This line is a negatively sloped curve, and the reason why is because if you want to increase the amount of x, you have to decrease the amount of y. So what that means is one variable is going up while the other variable is going down. So they're going in opposite directions. Okay, now you would calculate the slope the same way. If we went from this point to this point, the slope is going to be this rise divided by this run. Okay, the easiest way to learn this stuff is to do some problems. So I don't know if you have jumped into the self-checks here, have you?
Yeah, I did some of the self-checks, but the problem I think was more of when they were asking it as a question and I couldn't visually see it.
Okay, maybe the best thing for you to do would be to come into my office hours again and let me just kind of go over it with you.
Okay.
You know, I'll be around on Friday if you want to come by.
All right. Definitely. It's been a while since I've done.
I totally understand. You know, we don't, you know, we'll get this stuff.
All right. Awesome.
It's only week 1. Actually, we're not even through the first week yet.
Well, yeah, and that's why I was like, you know what, I want to be more safe than sorry, and because I know foundation week 1 is always going to be the foundation.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. So you might as well get it right the first time.
Right.
You know, before you.
I'm getting all A's this semester, hopefully.
Awesome. Okay. Anybody else have questions, or Addie, do you have any more questions?
No, those were the lines were basically going to be the part that I probably need to most work on before taking the quiz.
Okay. That makes sense. You know, I'm happy to work with you if you have questions during the week. Either you can come into my face-to-face office hours, which are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 11 to 12, or, you know, this is an online course, so that it may not be convenient for you guys to come in. So what you could do is you could email me and we could set up an appointment to just do a hangout together. That's worked pretty well in the past. Okay, so don't, if you have questions, don't panic. Just reach out and let me know, and we'll work it out.
Sure.
Anybody else? Okay, what we're going to do next week, if you're exactly on track, is we're going to get into supply and demand. Okay, supply and demand is challenging until you figure it out, and then once you've got it, it'll be like riding a bike. You'll never forget how to do it again. Okay, so it's sufficiently important that, like Addie said earlier, you got to get it early, because it's something that we're going to be using all semester long. So one of the things that we're going to do is I'm going to put you into groups. If there's somebody in the class that you want to work with, you can let me know. I'm happy to put you guys together. And so in addition to all the other stuff that you're going to do, I'm going to give each group some problems to work through, because that will be the best way that I know for you to learn this stuff. And because you're working through the problems and explaining your work, if you don't quite get it right, I'll be able to figure out pretty easily how to fix it. Okay? So that's coming up, but we're not there yet. And that's really all I have to say. So last chance for a question.
How often is there additional stuff besides the modules?
Okay. What I would say is it averages less than once a week.
Okay.
Okay. The further we get into the course, the less frequently these things will be.
Okay.
Again, the two that I gave you this week are just to get launched into the class.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. Well, then I will see you next week, or sooner, or online, or something like that. So have a good evening.
All right, bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.